I want to talk about objectively what Microsoft and Xbox need to do at least once. And I say this all the time, can I just get one? And what does that mean? And I'm going to talk about this in this video. And while I'm speaking, you're going to see 4 games that were created just last generation, 4 IPs, and a video of the sequel to one of those games. And this is Sony just last generation. This is IP creation, new IP creation, by the way, brand new, created just last generation. We're not talking about the new IPs that were created in the PS3 generation that helped them transition to the PS4 and carry their audience forward. We're not talking about new IP creation during the PS2 generation that helped them transition to the PS3 and carry their audience forward. We're not talking about new IP creation during the PS1 generation that helped them transition and carry their audience forward to PS2. We're talking about PS4 new IP creation quality. And when I say, can I get just one? The idea that Game Pass turns the mountain that Microsoft has to climb in the industry to be seen as a creative force. The idea that Game Pass turns that mountain into a molehill is false. The mountain is as big as it's ever been. And yes, Game Pass is a good service. Yes, there are games coming to Game Pass. There are first-party games coming to Game Pass. But are those games going to be of a quality that matches these games? And this isn't just me. This isn't some subjective thing that you can point to. Objectively, throughout the industry, everyone is pointing to these games as the high watermark in terms of what can be created on a console. The industry celebrates these games. And yes, not everyone likes these games, but you cannot deny that when you look at these games, they're almost a generation ahead when they come out. When you look at Horizon on the PS4, it looks like a PS5 launch game. Ghost of Tsushima, God of War. When you look at these games, they push the medium forward, and the medium celebrates these games. Nobody talks about the canvas that the artwork is painted on. When they go to the museum to look at art, they look at the art. That's the difference. You can't consistently talk about things that really have nothing to do with the totality of the experience when a game comes out. And so far, that's what Microsoft's doing. You know, we're talking about resolution and teraflops and numbers of studios and all of these things that really don't amount to anything unless the art is out there in the world and people are reacting to it. So Microsoft needs to get just one, and this is where I'm getting into this personal thing I have, where can I have just one game, Microsoft and Xbox, that rises to the level of these last generation games? Can I get one game that's undeniably unbelievable, that pushes the console to the theoretical limits and beyond? When you look at, again, games like Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us Part 2, and you realize that's running on a base PS4, it's unbelievable. It's undeniable that you got your money's worth and more. It's undeniable that that system has been utilized fully by a developer. I mean, that's the kind of stuff missing from Microsoft and the Xbox. And a bunch of filler in a subscription service is great, and those first-party games are coming. But if those first-party games are consistently, high 7s to medium 8s, and Sony continues to be the place where most people see the high watermark in console gaming, high 8s, high 9s, then nothing is going to change. Game Pass, by definition, is a service. And by definition, a service lives and dies by how many platforms it's on. You can't tie a service to a piece of hardware and expect it to be successful unless that hardware sells to millions and millions and millions of people, and Xbox just has never been that piece of hardware. There aren't people running out to buy Surface and Surface Duos and Xboxes the way they are PlayStations. It's just not happening, which is why Sony is sort of lukewarm on the idea of service like Game Pass. Their PlayStation Plus service is selling incredibly well to the PlayStation audience. For Microsoft, as a service-based company, they need to put that service everywhere. So it needs to be on PlayStation, it needs to be on Switch, it is on PC. And I think that Microsoft is looking for that way out of the hardware space and into what is their strength as a company, software and services. You always need places for those services to go. There are always going to be hardware companies like Sony and Nintendo. So the immediate thing that I see needed right now are games. That's not a mystery. That's not some, prophetic announcement. I think everyone knows that on the games front, it's been pretty bad for Microsoft for a while. I think that with these acquisitions, I think that the best bet would be the initiative. I think Hellblade, I don't know anything about it. I haven't really seen anything. The first game I liked. The combat needs to be reworked completely. It is a strange character to build a franchise out of. I mean, it's a woman with schizophrenia, and it was about schizophrenia and mental health. And then all of a sudden, she's going to be a heroine in a sequel. Who knows how that's going to go, but Microsoft needs to demonstrate that they can be seen as top artists in the industry. I use the analogy when all the artists get together and have their little, their little meeting. Microsoft wants to be there, but they have nothing to show. So what do? They buy the building that the artists meet in, and then they just show up and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm one of you guys." No, you're not. Owning the canvas doesn't make you an artist. You have to paint on the canvas, and you have to have it be celebrated by more than, yourself or the people who are just, paid to say great things about your product. And that's what Microsoft needs. So when I say, can I get just one? I want just one game like this. This is The Last of Us 2, right? I don't like the story. I think it was a bit ridiculous. Some of the things were just out of this world. But it's undeniable. This is running on a PlayStation 4. The animation, the lighting, the graphics, the texture work, it's unbelievable. The facial animations. Why can't Microsoft do this? Are they going to spend the money to do something like this, knowing that it's going to slide into Game Pass on day one? That's what I'm waiting for. And I'm not sure that they're willing to do that. They're willing to spend for development studios, right? But what are they willing to spend for those development studios to create? Are they willing to spend, $8 billion for Bethesda and then spend upwards of $500 to $600 million for something like The Last of Us 2 to be developed and put into Game Pass? I don't think they are, unless they have a lot more subscribers paying for Game Pass than they do right now. And the only way to get those subscribers is to get that service on the platforms that are selling more than the Xbox. And that's the PlayStation and the Switch. I don't think Game Pass would have a problem being on PlayStation if Xbox hardware didn't exist. And I think that when Xbox hardware doesn't exist, Game Pass will be on the PlayStation. And I do believe that. I do believe that Microsoft is going to be out of the hardware business. Not soon, but much sooner than everyone else. And I don't think that Sony is ever going to get out of hardware because they're a hardware company, and Nintendo is always going to create hardware. I think the best thing for Microsoft is the service. Obviously, to get the service on PlayStation and competing hardware, they need to probably get out of the hardware business. I know Sony's probably held up because of that, a competing platform, a competing service. But you look at EA Access. EA Access is on PlayStation. EA doesn't have a console. I do think that next generation, they're going to make another console, but I think that's going to be it. I do think there'll be a PlayStation 7 after the 6, and I do think Nintendo will be around forever. But that's a ways off. Right now, can I get just one? I want just one IP that has a brand new character, not somebody that was, resurrected from the OG Xbox era. Create a new world, create a new character, create something absolutely breathtaking, and have it resonate with the industry and with gamers. Have it become a new IP. When's the last time they created a new IP within a generation that they could carry forward? A new single player world that they could carry forward into the next generation. It's been quite some time. They haven't done it. If you want to be an artist, you have to create great art, period. That's not subjective. You can't sit there and tell me Sea of Thieves subjectively is a great new IP, because it's not. You can't sit there and tell me, I can't even think of another IP they've created. I mean, just something. Give me one game like the 4 that you've seen here in this video. That's all I need. That's all I need. Just one that I can consistently go back to. A character that I can identify with. A world that I could love. Graphics that completely and totally blow my mind. So is Microsoft and Xbox going to give me that game? What do you think? Like, subscribe, share out on your favorite social media platform of choice, and I'll see you in the next video.